So hello everybody, welcome back. I have not done a video about water for a very long time because this was one of the first reproduction lists that I started. So if you want to understand water, you might want to watch this series from the beginning. In fact, in the beginning it was called misconceptions about water. That means that you will have a lot of concepts that will change after you either go through issues with water in terms of excess of it or lack of it or contamination of it and other issues like sharing it or people stealing it or just where to put it and other things like that. And you will have a lot of issues. Also, in terms of you thinking that it's easy to move buckets. Oh no, it's not. In fact, you will. I told you there will be more than half of the people that will hurt themselves either through falling, because when you're moving water, you will have splashes and then you will have water all over the place, and then you have to have somebody who is mopping all over the place, or because you will hurt your shoulder in the rotator cuff thing that you have in your shoulder. That one, if you hurt it, very likely, very, very, very likely, not all the time, but very likely, you will have to go through surgery to fix it. So, nobody tells you that if you're carrying bucket, you might need surgery because of that. So you need to understand that several things we are not taught when we are little, and one of them is ergonomy. Ergonomy is a science of you moving your body properly and efficiently. So, our bodies have evolved into a certain way, and you're supposed to move it in a certain way and things like that. And moving water is something that we used to do a lot, but now we don't. And then, we have issues in terms of walking, moving water, and carrying things that are related to water, and then building things that are related to water and things like that. Now, if you don't understand that there are different kinds of containers, and a container is not the same as a water tank, because a water tank will have connectors, as in you store water and then you can move it by pipes, but if you cannot move it by pipes, then it is a container, it's not a tank. And anyway, there are several things that I have mentioned in this reproduction list. This one has a lot of videos that actually show, different water pumps and situations like this. And so, that one will require for you to probably take notes. Anyway, so now that we have had that out of the way, I'm going to talk to you about certain things that I do not know how to explain, the best way possible, because I am not an expert. But I have done a lot of research, and you can do a lot of research also. And when you do the research, you might not want to drink anything because you might actually, throw up or something. And that one is really, really, really bad. Anyway, but you better know this information at hand, because this one is not something that everybody will tell you. And you will need a biologist or somebody who knows about algae and bacteria and biology things, because, if you want more information on this one, because quite frankly, like I said, I'm not an expert, so I will not know how to explain this to you, but I do know it happens. Now, if you wanted to share a coffee with me while you're at it, links for that on below. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And here we go. So number one. So we have mentioned that about water, we have mentioned that you need to understand water tanks. If you do not have water tanks in your house, you are going to be in such troubles. You have no idea how bad it is if you do not have water tanks. Quite frankly, is the three main things, and I do main things, that people regret not investing in their houses or apartments, because you can invest this into apartments, by the way, are number one, lightening things, because people will steal light bulbs, people will have issues with lights, and then, in the darkness, when there is a power outage, you cannot see, there will be people falling, there will be people stealing, there will be a lot of things, and then, it's going to be a big issue. You not protecting the light bulbs, you not having enough light bulbs, and you not having some sort of energy so that you can have lights, and then, whatever it is. That one is the first thing, that because, when you're in the dark, it is bad, especially if you do not have your eyeglasses. And people regret not having enough, health in terms of their sight. Because the elder you are, the more light you will require. And so you need to understand a lot about lights, about flashlights, and about all these things. That one is the first thing that most people regret not having properly done in their houses. The second one is not having water tanks. If you do not have a water tank, this is not an ETI. An ETI means everyday threat and inconveniences. This is a ETI nightmare. Because if you do not have water tanks in your house, you will have to have water in containers, you will have to move it, you will have to set up a lot of things, you will have to go outside and buy it, which requires fuel and time and things and money. You will have to trade for it, which is also insane, because not a lot of people will trade water, unless they have like a water underground tank inside their house and they have a lot and things like that, an underground well or something like that. And then even then you will need fuel, and then it will be insane. The whole thing about water, light is an ETI. It's an everyday threat and inconveniences, because every day there is sun. You can, the sun will be up and then you will be okay. Or you can get batteries, or you can fix it easy. Light is easy fixable. It's a problem, but it's easy fixable. Water, not easy fix, unless you have enough water tanks. So if you are investing money into prepping with food, how are you going to prepare it, or do a lot of things that are related with water? You are miscalculating the amount, you are miscalculating the effort that it takes to move it, you are miscalculating a lot of things in terms of water, and that one is going to be your biggest nightmare that you're going to face on a daily basis. So no, if you have to only watch one list in my channel, just one, pick the water over food. Because no water, I would like to know, how are you going to survive without that? It's bad. No. Water is main thing. And here is why you need a biologist. Because you are thinking that you can potabilize water by adding chlorine. No, you can't. And then you're like, yes, it has been done forever. Yeah. So let me explain several things that are happening that did not happen 50 years ago and did not happen, recently, but are happening now. See, you're thinking that circumstances in hard times, 100 years ago is the same as right now. No, they're not, because we have bigger problems. And I do mean problems. These things you cannot fix with money or anything. You have to fix them with knowledge. And this knowledge is like the cream of the cream, because nobody, who is interested in learning biology when you need to survive. And you have zombie attacks all over the place, you're not interested in learning biology. But that thing, the knowledge about biology and things, will help you, overcome things in a smarter way. And so you gotta understand this one. I have said this before, and I have proved it in one of my ETI videos. I think that I deleted that one because I did it in my personal ETIs, and I think that that's probably not going to be shown in the channel. I do not know, but anyway, here is how you prove it. So I took water from the pipe, into 3 different containers, and I tried one of them just putting a lid on it, waiting to see what happened. Then the next one, I added chlorine. And this one I had to do because I do think that this one is on the Pesos videos, in which I had to deal with water that I'm storing in a kiddie's pool, my kid's plastic pool. You know, so this water is staying there, but I needed to be clear and as clear as possible, because that one is the one that we're using for toilets and shower and a lot of things when there is no water or I don't have electricity. And since I don't have electricity, I cannot access the water pump. So, at this point, I need this water to be clean. So I had to try several ways in which I could do that. And so I put the water into 3 containers. So the first container, I just let it there with a lid. The second container, I added chlorine, like a few drops. And the third container, I just filtered it. And then, I left it there. So here is how it works. The first container, it has larvae on it, meaning a little bit of dark, and the water will grow larvae, as in parasites. Now, I think I showed in the channel one that it was like a scary video, and I said, do not watch it if you are that type of person that will have nightmares and you cannot even move and stuff like that, because you will throw up and not stop, and then you cannot even move. Oh yeah, that kind of thing. That one is because there was water that was dropping in a road. I have said before, that there is water dropping in roads because, the pipes that are underground will break, and then there is nobody that will, break down the ground or the cement or whatever it is and then fix the pipes, and then, this thing is breaking water all over the place every time, and so you will have water all over the place in roads, and then the roads will grow a lot of trees and things, and then the road is no longer a road. Is a I don't know what to call it. So these parasites, these larvae that are growing, into my container are very small, are the size of this thing. This thing? That size. It's like a half of my fingertip or something like that. That is the size of that larva. But you can see them. If you have problems with sight, you will not be able to see them. However, they are black. Some of them are a little bit gray, but most of them are black. These larvae, if they are grown like, continuously growing or whatever, they will grow and they will become this size. Just to have a comparison, this is my hand. And they will be like literally this shape and literally this size. And they will look like a big like a big ball. And by the way, nobody is studying that thing, because I told you, come on, this is hard times. Nobody's going to go to a university and try to graduate in art or philosophy or anything like that when you're trying to run for your life in a zombie apocalypse or whatever. So no, nobody is studying that thing. But I saw the videos of those kind of parasites, and oh yeah. Oh crap, you have no idea. They are bad. They move around water like if they were, my God, they are really, really freaking bad. And they are parasites, by the way. That size. And if you're thinking that, no, they cannot be parasites, well, they are something. And they are that big if you let them grow. So, a lot of people will go crazy, like I told you, that, because people will think, okay, chlorine or something like that will kill the larva. So I tested it in the second container. Yeah, the second container did not have a lot of larvas. By the way, it did have larvae, just not the same amount. It was like the first container has like 100 larvae and this one has like maybe 1 or 2. But this container, the water was completely green. Like this color green. I'm not joking. This color green. That kind of color green. It's not dark green, it's lemon color green or something like that. Lime color green or something like that. And it's a thing. So this whole topic 3 years ago started to worry virtually almost everybody. I mean, at that point I can tell you that the amount of fear in people when this video about the parasites was out, and the amount of people that started, looking all over for these larva things and all of these things, it was insane because everybody started buying chlorine, and then everybody needed to watch the water tanks daily, because now even water that came from the pipe was green. Because obviously if you have a water tank and then you are using water from the water tank, it will still be green, despite the fact that you are placing white water in it. The one that you are going to get, because you are not, you are consuming the water, that the one that is in the water tank will be green. And it was filled with a weird smell. It was like you going to a beach, but a little bit more humid. And so everybody was like, so is this some sort of like, how you go to a beach and some of them are like with sand only, but sometimes you go to a beach and the beach is filled with this water that seems brown and green at the same time, and it's weird, and it is clean. I mean, you touch it and everything, and it is clean. The problem is not that it's clean. The problem is that the color is green, and then the smell is kind of weird, and you do not know what is happening. Yeah, that's because I'm going to say that I'm sorry if I get it wrong, because I told you I'm not a biologist. So I might not know the exact thing, but. Kind of like how I understood it was, there had to be, like I said, there was panic all over, so there had to be a research investigation opening. There was a lot of teachers, researchers and teachers that were involved into this thing, because they were trying to figure out what the hell, because it's green and it's filled with plants and things, and yeah. That's not supposed to happen when you add chlorine and things like that are supposed to kill the things. Yeah. Except that there are, you see, chlorine is an element that it is supposed to be a gas. Okay? It's not supposed to be liquid. So when you place it in liquid, it will evaporate with the water. The problem is that when you mix it too much or something like that, the chlorine will add to the water particles, and when they start evaporating, instead of evaporating the hydrogen and the oxygen from the water, which is the H2O, now it has chlorine, and there is another gas, and this will create poison all over, and it will kill everything around it. So nature said, oh no, you cannot kill everything around you. So what we're going to do is that when chlorine gets liquid, it gets trapped within these things, and then there will be bacteria. These bacteria these organisms or bacteria or viruses, whatever they are, I think they are bacteria. Sorry, I get interrupted all the time. So these bacteria will actually go to these particular, unions or atoms or whatever you want to call them, and will actually feed feed from that thing. And when it feeds, it will grow into a new organism. And this organism is sort of like a small coral or a small type of plant that will develop into coral reefs or something like that. So basically, nature's way of dealing with chlorine, which is poison for everything, or a lot of human beings and all kinds of other things, is that it will actually build it. It will create it so that it will build green things, green structures, and green algae things that will develop into the coral reef part of things, because they are kind of like an animal thing. So it will become like a self feeding thing, and then it will proliferate like crazy. And so in my container, I told you, I keep getting interrupted. So I was saying, that the container was green, and of course we cannot use chlorine to treat the water. And you will find that if you have a small, and I do mean like a very tiny small quantity of this bacteria or organism or whatever it is into your water supply, because by the way that will happen, I don't know how, but it will happen eventually one way or another one, because water is all connected. So maybe you got it from a source that was already contaminated, maybe you got it because you're near the sea, maybe you got it God knows how, but the point is that you can get it. And so your water will turn green, and then of course this will create a lot of political pressure, because everyone is pissed on the fact that the water is either with larvae and brownish and stuff like that, and smells like poop, or it's green and it has algae things or whatever they are, and then the water will also smell weird, and it also will taste weird. And your third choice is that you use a cloth to filter it. The cloth will take care of a lot of these issues, because I told you I had to test this. So the third choice was using just the cloth. And with the cloth, I did not get the larva or the things so like fast. You will still develop the larva, but it will take like 2 weeks or maybe 10 days or something like that, as opposed to not putting the cloth and then having that issue within 48 hours. So is a thing. So you need cloth to remove these things. Now, other issues that will be related to this problem is that political nightmares will happen, because people will panic, people will demand solutions and stuff like that, which means that water treatment plants will need to be reinstated or rebuilt or re-engineered or whatever it is. And the thing is that these water treatment plants require electricity. So when there is no power in an area where these water plant treatments, are, the water treatment plants, like I told you, will depend upon electricity. So if there is no power around that area, all the water that is being poured down into the water treatment plant will just go, without filters or anything, will just go to the pipes. And that is going to go insane in terms of your water tank and your inner pipes inside your house. See, if water treatment plants are supposed to take out also solid waste, as in poop, oils, and all kinds of organic things, including but not limited to dead animals and other stuff like that. And so you can tell that you are going to get all of that through the pipe. And depending upon this situation, there will be crazy people in the water plant treatment that will go kind of like, oh no, I'm not getting that into my house. And so they will add all kinds of chlorines and all kinds of chemicals to the water to try to make it normal. And at this point, if you're showering and you might get burned eyes because your eyes will be suffering because of the water coming through the pipe with a lot of chemicals. People that have sensitive skin cannot shower because of that. Because if you shower, you will develop eczemas, you will develop pimples, you will develop allergies, you will develop all kinds of things. And then, there is a problem with the eye, like I told you. And in fact, there is a lot of people that are like, oh no, my skin is strong or whatever. And at this point, depending upon the smell of the water, as soon as you open the pipe, you understand if it has too much chemicals or not because you will smell it. If you have issues with the smell sense, you really need to have that one fixed somehow. Or have a lot of people around you that do know about the smells. And so some people will actually shower using goggles in your eyes. And this is going to be an issue. So a lot of people will need to buy potable water. And so now you need to figure out where to get potable water. Because a lot of people will go into trucks, because a lot of people do that. I mean, a lot of people, we used to have that. We used to have a truck that was every Monday and Thursday. And you just give the driver or whoever is, with the truck, the container that is empty. They give you one that is good, and then you're done, you pay, and then they leave. Yeah. Except when people started noticing that there was something weird in this potable water that was being delivered in the trucks, and it was that the truck drivers were taking the potable water from the potabilization area, or the area that we're supposed to be drawn the water from. Like, let's say that it was supposed to be drawn by a clean lake or something like that, meaning a natural source or maybe a waterfall nearby or whatever. Yeah, the drivers took the potable water, brought them to their own houses, and then they placed water from the pipe into the containers, and then continue moving and selling people water from the pipes. So the owners of the trucks did not know anything. Because obviously, you see the truck arriving at the potabilization area or whatever, and then you see them leaving, so they come back, you see them leaving, and then you're like, yeah, the truck is coming here. Yeah, but the water is not getting to the consumer, the water is getting to the drivers who are taking the water and, taking it for their own house. And then they are selling the water that is just from the pipe to anyone. And this was clear because there were a lot of containers that sometimes they did not sell it in over the weekend. And when it was Monday, the containers were green or the containers were brown. And this is not supposed to happen with potable water. And so there is a lot of corruption around water. There is a lot of politics around water. There is a lot of issues related to water that you will not see or you will not understand until the system breaks down, and then you gotta deal with this thing on your own. So if you're thinking, okay, I'm just going to wait for the truck to sell me the potable water, yeah, you do not know where that water is coming from. So you cannot trust the truck drivers. And then you are like, oh, come on, that's how, yeah. I'm sorry, but it's just the way things are. Because the truck drivers are probably not making enough money to buy potable water. It's like you go to a job. Let's say that you work at a Starbucks, And then your job is to sell coffee to everybody, but you cannot afford drink one coffee from Starbucks. So what do? I mean, you are there working all day, and you want one coffee. So of course you're going to steal it. A lot of people will, Not everyone, but a lot of people will, because potable water is expensive. Clear water is quite expensive. So you need to, the alternative is that everyone gets right now water that is being treated. Meaning, a lot of people will invest $10,000 or sometimes $12,000 into a house. They will get the proper filters. I told you the filters for the house is around between $10,000 to $12,000, and you need to get that money back somehow. So what they do is they charge you. How much? Well, right now is roughly 50 cents for one bottle of water that is treated, meaning it is potable, but it's not mineral water, it's not clear water, it's not nature's water, it's just filter it and treat it so that you can drink it. But here comes the worst part, the one that nobody is telling you, and the one that is being researched right now. And I am guessing that this means that the water is going to jump from 50 cents to maybe $2 per bottle here in my country. And that is if, and only if, they get this new thing or whatever it is. And I'm guessing that this trend in other countries will be worse, because you will have to pay $5 for a bottle instead of $2. See, if in my country you're paying $100 for something, you're probably paying 10 times that in other countries. Or sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes you will pay something extremely cheap in your country, but in my country it will be like tens of thousands of dollars. So water is going to be an issue because of the following. You are thinking that the treatment plants are working. They're not. Right now in the US, they're not. Right now in the UK, they're not. Right now in Europe, they are not working. And I'm going to try to explain to you several things. So I just told you that different kinds of treatments will work for different kinds of things. That means that if you use chlorine with certain water, you will get green water. So what works with one particular water will not work for other types of water. So filter it will work with certain larvae, but not with all larvae. Charcoal will work with certain things, but not the other ones. This one will work with certain things, but not other ones. So you have different kinds of contaminants, and then you have different kinds of filters. Yeah, except that there is no filters for fluor. So in the United States, more than 70% of the water, even if you buy it, and even if it says mineral and potable or whatever it is, it contains fluor. Now, you're thinking, okay, but fluor is good for the teeth. Yeah, actually, no. It has been proven that when you drink fluor, you are damaging your brain, as in your pineal gland, and then it will affect your brain eventually, one way or another one, because basically you are stopping certain chemicals from acting properly inside your brain and inside everything within your spinal column. Because the pineal gland is connected to your spine, and then from your spine it will irradiate for your entire body, which means that basically you are destroying a lot of things. And that will make you more unstable in terms of the emotions, that how you're going to cope with emotions and movement in your body. Because obviously if you have something that is affecting your spine, as in, it's doing a lot of things into your pineal gland, and then it's doing a lot of things into your spine, you're going to probably move, differently. And so if you are in the US, you are in trouble because of that. I told you, 70-something%. And that is a good estimate, meaning optimistic, because the actual number is way higher. And so you need something to take care of the fluor. But filters that will take care of the fluor, I don't, like I told you, you need somebody who is expert. And even if there was an expert, going through a filter will take will take huge times, huge time that you just don't have. Let me explain this. You drink 10 glasses a day of water, but this filter is able to filter you 4 glasses of water per day. So what are you going to do with the other 6? And that is just you drinking. So what are you going to do with the other water that you need, like cooking and cleaning and all kinds of other things, like showering and washing your face and all kinds of things? So basically, you need the water treatment plants to come up with a plan so that you can do this one. The problem is that water treatment plants are political. They will not act and they will not do anything unless there are a lot of politicians working on it. And even if there are 100 politicians, very powerful, working on it, they are not going to be able to do anything unless these treatment plants have a lot of scientific research made by biologists and these people. And there are not a lot of biologists that are working on this thing. And not only that, but they require a lot of electricity. And electricity is not considered an emergency service or an emergency anything. It's not even considered a human right. So the politicians will need to work on new bills, as in how to treat electricity as a right or not, because it's a thing. I'm so sorry, this video has been taking a long time, and it has been very hard to do because it keeps getting interrupted. So I was mentioning also that the filters will work for several things, but they will not work for others. So if you are in the United States, you might have a lot of fluor into your thing. And then if you are in Argentina, for example, right now they are being tested in that country. And it turns out that the water is filled with graphene. So we are drinking graphene. Now, fluor is something that will stick into your body. And it's very difficult to get rid of it because it's metal. Then there is a lot of, like I said, graphene all over Argentina. And there is graphene. The reason why they want to get rid of the glacier land, the land that has the glaciers, which is the one that holds the water, is because they need it to melt so that they can take care of the graphene. Because they need graphene to go all over the globe. And in order for you to do that, you might need to use the glaciers and you might need to use all kinds of things. So the water will come with graphene. So despite you thinking that you have a great filter, or you thinking that you are doing great in these terms, you may not be able to do it because the contaminants are different. In my country, we have, particularly my state, we have cadmium kind of contamination. Cadmium is a heavy metal, and you cannot get rid of heavy metals from water. If you are in the UK or areas like that, as I understand it, there are a lot of heavy metals that are being placed into the water. Now, heavy metals are different. It's not the same you having cadmium, like the one that I have in my country and my city, than you having a lot of lead or other materials. So depending upon the place that you are in, you will have different kinds of waters and different kinds of contaminants that nobody is telling you about. So the only way to figure this one out is when you follow biologists, people that are studying life and people that actually, you think, most people think, biology, you're never going to make anything out of it. Oh yeah, what nobody tells you is that there was one time in which one biologist, by the way, a female biologist, saved us from an apocalyptical event that, quite frankly, if that one would have happened, I swear to God, none of us will be alive right now. Not even a fly will probably be alive right now if it wasn't for that woman. And nobody tells you. And the reason why is because she's a biologist, and she was researching water and bacteria. And there was a bacteria that was genetically modified that was able to transform whatever it ate into alcohol. And this alcohol level was so freaking high that if the bacteria was attached to anything, it will kill, literally, virtually, physically talking, and oh my God, insane. That thing would have killed absolutely every single plant in the entire planet within less than a year. And you're thinking, oh, no, that doesn't happen because, we have people, and yeah. Like I said, usually the worst, the people that get the worst payments and the worst treatments and the worst resources and everything are the ones that actually have all the knowledge that can save everything. Thank God that she was listened, and then, she proved it, and then she went to all kinds of politicians, and the politicians, when she told them, they panicked and they freaked. And at this point, they were able to do a lot of things because, she was. And so the whole situation with the water is it has not reached the right publicity thing, because everybody's thinking that this is a climate change or all of those things. Is not. It's actually a contamination that is being done by graphene, heavy metals, fluor, and all kinds of things that are meant to attack your brain and your spine. And you're thinking, but this is insane. I mean, even rich people will drink water. Yeah, except for the fact that they know what kind of filters they can have in their houses. And like I told you, I mean, filters can cost $12,000 for a house. And with the new one, the one that is supposed to go for graphene and heavy metals, let's say that is $20,000. Okay, so you have a lot of money. What the hell is $20,000 for you? That is nothing. That is like pennies for people who are rich. So they can, they don't care. Because they can have those kind of filters applied in every single house that they have, because it's only $20,000. So let's say that in the US is not 20, but let's say that in the US is $60,000. Come on, still, if you have 10 million, what is $60,000 worth? If you're going to get clean water, so no big deal. See what I mean? So rich people will have access to special filters, and they will have access to certain things. People that do not have access to certain things will have to go through the process of buying water. And I told you, politicians will do this on purpose because they did it in my country. They destroyed the system in which you could take water from the tap so that they could make the delivery of the truck. When the truck potable truck businesses did not work, then they started in a new one. And right now, water is a business. The thing is that it's a business that only certain type of people can make money out of it, and then there is no water for everybody else. And that's why, a lot of people are leaving my country. It's not that it is the economy is insane, because that one we already knew. It's just that how do you deal with not having water or having to buy water that it is too, right now, like I said, 50 cents. So you are spending, $20 in a month trying to get water, and the salary is not even $17 right now, as in, September 2022. So how are you going to deal with that? You can't even afford water with the salary that most people are getting, because they use devaluated again the currency. So a lot of people will come and fix this thing with new adventures, new economic activities, and a lot of other things. But still, how are you going to fix the problem about water when now they are finding that there are more and more and more contaminants, which means that you will need different kinds of filters and different kinds of things, which means that it will be more expensive. And the filters will be harder to clean and harder to deal maintenance with, and also they will require more and more and more electricity. Because let's say that you need filters in every single house. That means that every single house is consuming more and more and more electricity. This will create a loop in which now electricity will also go up and everything. And it's all of it because there are issues related with water. And these are things that nobody tells you. And so you need to be prepared. And the best way to do that is get their freaking water tanks and understand how to connect them to water pumps and understand how they work, and all of those things. It's quite important. Anyway, I gotta go. I just can't continue with this topic. I hope that it's helpful. And if you want to watch this list from the beginning, thank you very much for your support. And I hope that this information is helpful. If you have any other questions about water, that is not in the reproduction list or whatever, just let me know. Because, so far this is the last video that I'm doing on this topic.